I'm delighted to be here with you again. It's Mensah Oteh, and I want to address a question that most people have asked and most people have in mind. What is the key to success? Is passion the key to success, or are habits the key to success? It's a very interesting question. Now, intelligence can be found in the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. What I like to do is use the principle of a coin. Every coin has three sides. You have the heads, you have the tail, you have the edge. What I like to do in addressing the question whether passion or habits lead to success is stand on the edge so that we can look to the left and look to the right, and we can decide as to whether one or the other or both play an instrumental role in helping you achieve your dreams and goals. Now, I love what Steve Jobs said. He said that people with passion are the ones who change the world. Steve was a very respected entrepreneur, but also a very respected innovator, and he's known very much for his passion for design and his passion for excellence. But on the note of excellence, I want to say that Michelangelo had a different view. Michelangelo said that if people knew how hard I worked for my craft, they wouldn't be surprised at how good it looks. In other words, he was simply saying, I put in more effort than you think I do. I put in so much work to create what you call a masterpiece. Now, let's start with one side of the coin. Let's start with passion. I love the word passion. Passion is something within you, is the feeling, is the emotion within you where you find a devotion to an activity or to a person. In this case, I'm not referring to intimacy, that type of passion. I'm referring to passion that you need to create success. So passion in itself is simply emotion. Now, when most people make reference to passion in relation to success, we're talking about doing what we love to do. Now, I think that's really important. I think it is a level of excitement that you should feel every morning, waking up before you go into work. There has to be a level of excitement that comes to you when you think about something you love to do. As a matter of fact, I think it's quite difficult to maintain a level of longevity in any profession or in any activity if you don't have passion. But let's not mistake passion based on how we feel for passion required to create results. Two different things. In dealing with passion, I want to address what I believe is often perhaps overlooked. I'll use Mother Teresa as a good example. She's known for her passion and her love for people. And I believe passion comes in two forms. There is the negative emotion and there is the positive emotion. When we talk about passion, we're primarily relating to or referring to the positive emotion, love, excitement, a commitment, a desire. But we fail to recognize that passion is simply emotion, and there has to be a negative side. Something called the law of polarity that says for every negative there has to be a positive. You can't have light without darkness. You couldn't know what it feels to lose except you understood what it would feel like to win. They go together. So wherever there is a positive emotion, there has to be a complementary negative emotion. A father loves his son and loves to see his son succeed, but is also saddened if he sees his son perhaps fail or miss the mark. Now, Mother Teresa is known for her passion and her love for people. Most people identify Mother Teresa's purpose with her passion for people. What most people do not understand is that Mother Teresa's influence and her impact in the world had less to do with the positive emotion of love and care, but it had more to do with the fact that she had this passion of anger and upset and hatred about seeing people suffer. She just couldn't stand seeing the poor suffer. She had a level of love for people, but you see, her love for people and the positive emotion she had wasn't all she needed. She also had to hate suffering. And it was her hatred and the pain she felt when she saw people suffer that led her to affect so many people. So, if you want to succeed using passion, you've got to understand that the positive emotion of passion deals with you. It's a selfish part of passion. It deals with what you like. It deals with what you enjoy doing. However, success requires service to people. Earl Nightingale had a really interesting definition when he says that there is something called the law of compensation. He says you and I will be compensated in proportion to the need for what we do, our ability to do it, and the level of difficulty there will be in replacing us. In other words, he was simply saying, you have to create value for people. You have to solve problems. You have to serve. And in serving the world, you're compensated. So, success in the marketplace, if I use that reference, in the marketplace requires more than just your positive emotion of passion. It requires that you take that passion you have, that love you have, that excitement, and that you channel that to solving a problem. In other words, you've got to find something in the world that perhaps you want to change, that you want to correct. And by combining that passion, which is excitement and purpose and love, with a negative emotion, which is still passion, where you want to change something, perhaps you don't like the state of the economy and you believe there's something you can do. You believe that there's something you can do to make a better world. Maybe not for our generation, for the generations to come. Your passion has to have both the positive and the negative in order for it to be complete. Now I say this for a reason. The world doesn't care what you love until it understands why it should. I think that's probably worth repeating again. The world doesn't care what you love until it understands why it should. This simply means you can have a love for poetry and music as much as you want, but until you show the world how you can use that passion you have for poetry to create value for other people, to solve problems for other people, the world doesn't compensate you. The marketplace is neutral. It's colorblind. All it simply says is you have to create value and you're compensated. So in relation to passion, passion is very important for success. I believe it. I believe that you should have a level of excitement that comes with doing something. I think that's important. However, a lot of people have been somewhat misguided or led down this pathway that all you have to do is do what you love. Entrepreneurship is a great experience, and if you're in the category of people who have decided to let go of what maybe have been the safe and secure route to living, and you've jumped into perhaps pursuing your passion, then you're very, perhaps like me, you're very familiar with the fact that there have been a lot of people who've pursued their passion, pursued what they love to do, and haven't found success. Because it's not about what you love. It's more about what you're willing to give, what you're willing to create, what you're willing to provide to the world. The world doesn't care what you love until it understands why it should. So, let me conclude the section on passion by making reference to energy. Passion is simply energy. Energy, we understand, cannot be created or destroyed. So, we all have passion within us. It's not something that you have to try and find. You simply discover your passion. You simply ignite the passion within you. Now, a lot of people are trying to find what they're passionate about, and I tend to say, well, passion is like potential energy. It's dormant within you. All you have to do is find the environment where that energy within you changes form. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, but it keeps moving. If you get into the right environment, the energy in you is ignited. It's ignited to the point where people call it radiant energy. People can see you radiating. Why? Because you've discovered your gift. Your purpose reveals your passion. Your purpose reveals your gift. Your gift, when served to the world, attracts people to you. That is radiant energy. But you must go beyond that. You must now take that gift you have and put it to work. Create value, create opportunities, solve problems. Now you're moving from what we'll call radiant energy to kinetic energy, movement. You've got to move, you've got to solve problems. So passion is important. Passion is great. If you can find it, if you've discovered it, amazing. But recognize that for you to really be successful, beyond personal success, I should make that reference. There's personal success where you feel content with who you are, but also there's success in relation to the marketplace. In order to experience success that is wider, beyond yourself, you have to create value for people. Now let me move to the other side of the coin and talk about habits. If you've read the book Open by Andre Agassi, it's his autobiography. Andre Agassi was once the world #1 tennis player. When I read the book, I was shocked to find out that Andre Agassi hated playing tennis. He absolutely hated playing tennis. However, he became one of the most celebrated tennis players to have graced the tennis court. He became the #1 player in the world. But he hated tennis. Interestingly, looking back at his journey, I was drawn to a section in his story where he says that at the age of 7, his father made him hit approximately 2,500 balls every single day. The father had a principle in his mind. The father said, if you hit 2,500 balls a day, when the average child is only hitting about a few hundred, then at the end of every week, you would have hit roughly about 17,500 balls. And at the end of the year, in a whole calendar year, you would have hit well over 1 million balls. And so a child that can hit 1 million balls will be unbeatable. So the father drilled into him what I call a routine. The father helped him develop this habit. He would wake up at a certain time. He would have to practice for a number of hours every day. He had a routine. He had a structured, daily standardized schedule. And because he focused on constant and never-ending improvement, every day, what he found was by practicing and sitting back at the end of the day and reviewing what he had done right, but also what he had done wrong or what he could have done differently, he was able to course correct. So, although he had no passion for playing the sports, yes, he was quite young and he was forced to do it by his father, he found that he was improving and he was obtaining a level of mastery that was compared to no other within his age group. Habits create success. What you do daily and consistently determines who you become permanently. Whatever you want to succeed in, I tend to say to people, begin with the end in mind. Ask yourself the simple question, what do I want? Whatever that is, hold on to that picture and walk backwards. You now have a vision. Convert that vision into a goal by having it in written form. Write it down. Crystallize it in written form, but also give it a level of permanence by allocating a time schedule for achieving it. Now you have a goal. Convert the goal into a plan. Convert your plan into a strategy. Now convert your strategy into daily habits, because what you do daily and consistently determines your results. So, if you want to achieve success, you simply have to identify the habits and the routines, which, if practiced consistently, will guide you to that future that you want. It's really that simple. So Andre Agassi's father created a daily standardized habit for him. You had to be in bed at this certain time. You had to practice for a number of hours every day. You had to hit a number of fixed balls every day. And as a result of those habitual activities, Andre Agassi became successful. Now that's a good example to use to demonstrate that you don't need to have passion for what you do to be successful. And the reason is simply because we are individually, we are what we do. But think about this. Let me deviate slightly away from activities and talk about you. What controls your life? Now let that question just sit in your mind for a few minutes. What controls your life? Bring a poor person and bring a wealthy person. Bring someone who is highly successful, maybe within sports, and bring someone who is perhaps operating at a mediocre level. Bring someone who is happily married and someone who isn't. Bring someone who is healthy and someone who isn't. And I have one word for you: habits. The difference is based on how we live. The habitual way of thinking, the habitual way of feeling, the habitual way of what we do determines our attitude. Your attitude, if repeated in action, forms habits. Your habits determine your character. They also determine your behavior. They determine your results. And so your destiny is really based on what you do. It's based on your attitude of thinking, feeling, and action. Now, William James said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." In other words, you can change your destiny by changing your habits. So, what you do every day plays a much bigger and a stronger role compared to how you feel about what you do. I don't think it's going to be wrong at this junction to say that the way we describe passion really relates to how we feel, what we like to do, what we love to do. The way the human body is designed and the way the human mind is designed, growth is something we need. We don't grow really in passion. It's just an emotion. But we grow when we see ourselves move in the direction of our dreams, our goals, our desires. Sometimes we fall short. But guess what? Growth lies in pushing yourself to the edge of your comfort zone, which is where that potential in you lies, whereby you're not really sure, you're on the edge. And I love the edge very much. I normally say, if you're not on the edge, you're taking up too much room. You've got to get to the edge because that's where growth lies. Now, growth and progress creates fulfillment and joy. Growth creates pleasure. So, you might find a job that you might be doing that you're not really passionate about. But I can say this to you, if you can keep a regular and a constant schedule of monitoring what you're doing every day, and you can identify that you're growing, what you find is that your confidence starts to increase. The more your confidence increases, the more you start to become more self-assured. Your self-esteem starts to increase. Your self-image starts to get better. The way you see yourself starts to change. All because you're growing. Now, you might be doing a job that you don't really love, but you find that you're good at what you do. Now, mastery comes as a result of constantly improving what you do. You don't need passion to succeed. You just simply need good habits and a great routine, and do it consistently every day without fail. Now, what you find is the more you get better at what you do, the more you start to develop a level of emotional connection with what you do, because now you're starting to be looked upon as a master of what you do. You've achieved a level of mastery. So, I believe that one of the things we all have to do is make a decision to pursue mastery rather than success. And I say that for a number of reasons. Mastery creates and leads to fulfillment. You see, success, according to the definition, is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. I support that definition. I recommend that definition. But you see, the success equation is incomplete without fulfillment. Success comes in parts. It's like an equation. In that equation, you have goal achievement. You set a goal, you've achieved it. But you can achieve your goals and be unhappy. You can achieve your goals and be very sad. And the reason is because the second part of that equation is fulfillment. Joy and happiness and peace. That in itself comes through the art form of how you live. But how you live is your lifestyle. Your lifestyle depends on what you do every day. What you do every day depends on your habits. So you see, we've gone in a full circle and we're coming back to habits. Really, how do you live? How you live decides the life you have and the experience you have. But the success equation is still not complete. Because though you have goal achievement and you have fulfillment, you must now combine that with the ability to design the good life. Some people call it lifestyle, which is how do you relate to people? How do you increase your understanding and awareness? How do you live? Do you live a purposeful life? Are you trying to live a legacy? So, success in itself doesn't have one key. Passion is an ingredient to creating success. Habits is also an ingredient to creating success. If you take one out, you have an incomplete equation. Imagine me holding a glass of water in my hand right now. If I had a glass of water in my hand, I would call that H2O. 2 parts of hydrogen mixed with 1 part of oxygen. You mix it right, you get H2O. It's a colorless compound. It's odorless. If I drink it, it nourishes me. Now, if I decide to alter the component parts of the compound, and let's assume I decide to mix 2 parts of hydrogen with 2 parts of oxygen, now I've created a different compound called H2O2. Hydrogen peroxide. It's colorless, it's odorless, but if I drink it, it will poison me. So, if you alter with the equation of success, if you remove passion from the success equation, you have an incomplete formula. On the other hand, if you remove your habits and what you do daily, you have an incomplete formula. However, this is what I would say to you. If you want to move into mastery and excellence, you don't really need to be passionate. You just need to be dedicated. You need to be committed. You need to be consistent. And by commitment, you start. By consistency, through the right habits, you achieve the goal. With focus and grit, perseverance and consistency, you achieve the promise. So I don't know where I've met you today. I don't know where I've found you. Let's assume that you are like me, standing on the edge of the coin, and you're looking to one side and it's passion, and the other side and it's habits. My recommendation is, why not just own the coin? You still have three sides. You can combine and you can use whichever side allows you to live the life you want to live. If you're trying to find your passion, there are a number of ways you can do that. The first I normally say is this: if you're trying to find something without, you're most likely not going to find it, because the kingdom is within you. The great writer says, seek first the kingdom within you, and all other things will be added unto you. A lot of people are trying to find love without, and I'm often surprised because you cannot find that which you are. Many of us are trying to find what we are, what we have inside. You can't find passion without, you cannot find love without, you cannot find success without, you cannot find fulfillment without. It's all within. When you find it within, it's manifested without. So I would suggest the first thing you do is recognize that your passion is not something you go searching for. It's something you discover within. But how do you discover that within? Very simple. I'll give you 4 ways in which you can do that. Number 1 is follow your curiosity. Now, Albert Einstein said something that I love. He said, I'm not exceptionally brilliant. He said, I have no special talent. I'm just passionately curious. In other words, I'm always asking questions. I'm always thinking about possibilities. I'm always using my imagination. And because I use my imagination and because I allow myself to see all possibilities, I find success. So if you want to find your passion, be curious. See yourself like a child. Just try things out. You're never really going to get the blueprints. A lot of people say, well, you got to find what you were born to do. Well, maybe you were born to do a few things, not just one thing. Maybe you were born to change the world in various ways. Maybe you were born to touch various people in different ways. So why don't you just be curious? Some people have the view that life is short and you should face life like a race, a sprint. And my question is, where are you really running to? Let's assume at the end of the race, what next? What's the hurry? Where are you really racing to? If we can just stand back and just live in now and just realize that this is life. Life is not starting and stopping. There is just life. We are simply life. We have a journey on earth in this body, yes, but this is just life. So follow your curiosity and allow your mind and allow your genius, the sleeping genius, the greatness that hides within you, let that guide you. Now, someone said that inspiration is an instruction from the person within you who knows to the person without who guesses. I'll say that again because I think it's really powerful. Inspiration is the person within you who knows, trying to communicate with the person without you who guesses. So allow your genius to guide you. And in many cases, you might think you're being guided down pathways that make no sense. Just let it do what it does best. It knows better than you. So number 1 is follow your curiosity. Think like a child, be inquisitive, be open to ideas, be open to people, be open to relationship, be open to learning. Number 2, if you want to find your passion, find the anger within you. Find that emotion within you whereby you want to change something. And the reason for that is because we're all here to serve one another. We all have a purpose in life. That purpose is connected to the world. We're here to serve our gifts and live our gifts and leave our imprints to make a dent, a positive dent in the world. And so part of our service to the world connects to something we're here to change, something we're here to correct, someone we're here to heal. So what I would say is find that part of you, find that anger within you. And this anger is not the negative anger you see around the world. I'm talking about anger founded on love, not anger founded on not accepting that we're one. Let that anger and that desire to change the world guide you, and what you'll find is you'll stumble on what you're here to do. You'll find your passion. And when you connect with that part of you, it will also reveal something that you enjoy doing. Because when you find what you're here to do, you will also find that it's something that gives you fulfillment. So I would say follow your emotion. Let that negative emotion, I know the negative emotion doesn't get a lot of publicity. We're always talking about love and excitement and passion, but recognize that passion comes in two parts. There's what we call pleasure-driven passion, and there's what we call purpose-driven passion. I'm talking about anger founded on purpose-driven passion. That passion to make a difference, to change the world. Purpose-driven passion focuses on the world. Pleasure-driven passion focuses on just yourself, because you're thinking about what's in it for me. What do I enjoy doing? What do I like? What do I love? Pleasure-driven passion, on the other hand, focuses on how can I help? What is good for other people? The greatest commandment said, do unto others as they do unto you. So I would say the second way to find your passion is simply follow your emotion of anger. Follow that negative emotion in you. Now the third is obvious. There is an opposite side. Find out what makes you come alive. Find out what awakens that kid within you. And normally for most of us, this is revealed at a very young age. Between the ages of say 6 and 14 or 15, we find that there's something we love to do. Why? Because at that age, we're the most creative. We're using our imagination. We're thinking of great things. We're thinking of what we can change. And as we grow old, we're told to become adults. So we become adulterated and we lose our passion. So if you want to reconnect with the passion within you, I would say go back to when you were a child and ask yourself a couple of questions. What did I really love to do? What did I enjoy spending my time doing? And just observe and just listen. Let that one within you guide you. Number 4 is purpose. Everything created was created for a purpose. I believe that. Everything has a purpose. You may not know the purpose for everything, but it doesn't erase the intelligence behind the creation of that thing or the making of that thing. Individually, we're all here for a reason. I don't think I just stumbled into the world because my mum or my dad decided to have fun. I think individually, all of us are here for a reason. And we have to find that reason. Some people call it the meaning of life. Nietzsche said, if you find the why for anything, you can achieve almost anyhow. So find out your why. Mark Twain said, the 2 most important days of your life is the day you were born and the day you find out why. The why in that quote is purpose. Your purpose reveals your true identity, your true uniqueness. It reveals your passion. It reveals your ability. More than anything, it reveals your greatness. So if you want to find your passion, find your purpose. They come together. It's a package deal. It's very easy. Now that is how you can find your purpose. You discover your purpose within. But with habits, you cultivate and you create the habits. Habit is something that has to be self-created. It comes through discipline. It comes through consistency. It comes through efforts. You have to learn how to combine self-discipline with commitment, with consistency, with hard work, with focus, and more than anything, with a desire and a passion for constant and never-ending improvement. That's how you create great habits. Now, Tiger Woods started playing golf when he was age 4. Michael Jordan started playing basketball at a young age, but every day he had to do a number of free throws. He had a routine, he had a habit. So you create your habits, you discover your passion. You create your habit through hard work, you create your habit through focus, and by doing deliberately and exceptionally well what I call the ordinary things. You see, success is not doing one large extraordinary thing once. It's doing the small ordinary things extraordinarily well, consistently every day. So if you want to create a good habit, you begin one step at a time. You simply decide, who do I want to be? And when you decide who you want to be, you ask yourself, who would I have to become to be worthy of actually being that person? And what would that person do every day? And every single day, you discipline yourself to do it. Now, here is what I think is the most important part of creating a habit. You have to discipline yourself to do it for 100 days, consistently, without fail. Now, I didn't make a mistake. I said 100 days. You have to be willing to do for 100 days, consistently. If you want to form a new habit, a strong habit that will be almost impossible to break, you need to discipline yourself. Now, a lot of people understand the 21-day principle. Unfortunately, research has shown that it doesn't work. We start the year with our New Year's resolutions, and unfortunately, by the end of January, we failed. We've fallen short of our desire and our goal. And the reason is simple, because there is a season to sow and there is a season to reap. You cannot do both at the same time. You cannot do both in the same season. So every habit, every activity has its what we call gestation and incubation period. So 21 days might work for a particular type of activity, but it doesn't work in principle for everything. What I found from experience is the 90-day principle is the starting point, and it helps you cover every single activity possible, but then we have an extra 10 days. So an extra 10 days to forge and form and condition that new habit. Now, this could be a habit of thought, thinking. This could be a habit of feeling. This could also be a habit of what you do. It really doesn't matter. But if you want to create a strong habit, you must exercise self-discipline consistently for 100 days. Now, part of the reason we try to form a habit is because you and I cannot live a life of self-discipline consistently. It's impossible. You and I cannot live a life of self-discipline consistently. It's impossible. It's too exhausting. The purpose of self-discipline is to help you form a habit. You do it consistently for a number of days, and then you no longer have to rely on your willpower and motivation and inspiration and encouragement and self-talk or perhaps self-push or someone being an accountability partner. Your self-discipline is there to help you build the muscles long enough then it becomes instinctive. Now think about this. So when you were very young, your mom had to wake you up in the morning, or your dad, take you into the bathroom and show you how to brush your teeth. You do it today automatically without thinking about it. The reason is simply because you did it consecutively and consistently at a young age, and you did it maybe for a number of months until it got to a point where You woke up yourself, you got off the bed, you went to the bathroom and you picked up the brush and you started brushing your teeth. And should I also say, you weren't thinking about what to do because it had become habitual. You had developed some self-discipline, though induced and forced, but that self-discipline had helped you form a new habit. And that's how we form habits. We start with self-discipline, we do it consistently until we form the habit of our choice. You cannot get rid of an old habit by trying to fix the old habit. The way you get rid of an old habit is you must create a new habit that renders the old habit obsolete. How? Through the law of displacement. You displace the old habit with a new habit. You walk into a room, there are no windows, it's pitch dark. How do you get the darkness to leave? You hit the light switch. The light displaces the darkness. Now the darkness is not very far. It's waiting patiently, hoping that the light moves away. But the point is this: if you want to create the new habit, now you might be saying, well, I have a habit which I'm trying to get rid of is a bad habit. That's fine. Don't focus on the bad habit because you attract what you think about. You must now focus on creating a new habit and just focus on the new habit, and that new habit will displace your old habit if done consistently. Now let me bring today's session in for a close. I started by trying to explain what I thought was one of the keys to success. What we tend to ask is it passion? Do I need passion to be successful? And I was trying to argue both sides and say you need passion, but also you need good habits, because your habits create success. I believe that both of them, passion and good habits, when mixed together in the right way, can help you achieve a level of success that perhaps you may not have realized was feasible or possible for you. Now, I hope that's been useful. I hope you found something worth listening to and perhaps what's in it for. Allow me to wish you the best of luck. God bless.